Thank you very much, Mr. David, um, for that. So I want to welcome everyone officially to the data science program. I know we've met before. For those of us that attended the onboarding sessions. So, but this is me officially welcoming us all to the program. I'm happy to have everyone here. I'm very excited, and I believe you are too. All right. So, Mr. David has given said some things that I plan to say. So I'll just elaborate on that and take us through some of the things we need to know before we go into the class proper today. Right. So now, first off, we have two platforms we are using for this particular program. Right. So we have the Google Classroom, and we also have the Telegram group. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen. So I'll take you through how to navigate these platforms because I believe some of us here, we are new to these platforms. We might not be very familiar with Telegram or Google Classroom. So I'm going to be taking us through the platforms, showing you exactly what you need to know. All right. So after that, then we are going to look at the curriculum, right? So we have a curriculum we are following. We're going to look at other things as well, the structure of the program, what to expect, how the classes would be, and everything. So some of these things has been said already during the onboarding sessions, but I'm going to reiterate. I'm going to say it again so we don't forget. All right. So yeah, welcome once again, and I'll be sharing my screen right now. All right, great. So now I believe everyone here can see my screen. So now, what you're seeing on the screen now is the Telegram group chat. The Telegram group chat for cohort 2. And as you can see here, I've segmented it into different groups, into different subgroups. This is very important to know, right? I keep saying this that each of these groups serve a particular purpose. Now we have the announcement group here, right? This is the first group here that is pinned. This is the official group for information. So whatever you see in this group is coming directly from the tutors, either I or Mr. David, and the class reps that we are going to select or elect subsequently. So please and please, this is very important to note. No other person should send in message or drop anything in this group, right? I keep saying this. I actually I don't know why Telegram didn't allow us, but we can't um lock a particular subgroup, right? If not, I would have locked it. But I just want to sound this to us. Please don't send in because the information that we would have to pass as tutors. So and it needs to get to everyone. So please to avoid clutter and a lot of messages. Please don't post anything in this group chat so as to allow the message we will be sending get to everyone, right? So this is for the tutor. This announcement group always always keep an eye for the information that will be dropping on this particular group. So the next group we have here is the general group. So this is basically, as the name implies, the general group. Everything that you're going to be doing, anything that needs to be said, can be said here, right? There is basically no restriction, or although there are certain things that you are expected not to do, right? But this is where you can communicate, interact, and just do a lot of other stuff. I would also be in this group, sending in messages and some other things, right? So this is just the general group for a whole lot of things. Now the next group we have here is the Q&A, right? This Q&A is basically for questions and answers. So in the course of the program, we'll definitely have questions you might want to ask, right? So this is where you drop your questions. Once you drop your questions here and tag me or Mr. David will definitely respond to it, right? If you come to any of those other groups and drop questions, right, that you want to direct at us, you might probably not get an answer to that, right? So you'd use if you use the right group for the right for the right thing, then you're going to get your answers. So please, this is the Q&A. Ensure that your questions, whatever it might be, is you use this particular group chat for that, right? So now the next group we have here is live class. Okay, let me talk about this. So we have the materials and resources group. So this group is basically for dropping resources and materials. We don't chat here. So you don't do send unnecessary messages here. You just drop materials, right? So definitely will be of materials we're using for this particular program. So whatever material you might find useful, you can also drop it here, right? Although this is mostly for the tutors and also the class reps that we are going to be appointing very soon. Right, so the last group here is the live class group. Now, this group functions solely for the classes the live class will be having as we are having now, right? So what we are having now is a live class. And as I've said in the message I passed earlier, we will be having these live classes every weekend, Saturdays and Sundays. Saturdays from 3 to 5, right? 3 to 6, and then Sundays from 5 to 7. So those are the days we'll be having our live classes. And during the live classes, there will be interactions with, there'll be interactions, tutor-student interactions. So whatever questions you might want to ask, or whatever question I might ask, everything should be done in this particular group. So right now, if I ask you a question now, you should be responding here. You should be going to this particular live class group and responding. So now let's just see how it works. So I want to know if everyone can hear me clearly. So if you can hear me clearly, can you just type on this particular group that you can hear me? Or just say anything to show that you can hear me clearly. Exactly, right. So this is the function of this particular group. So this is where you drop every messages that is particular to the class we are having, right? So we're going to be using it a lot. We're going to be doing a lot of questions and answers, right? So this is just, all right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, I think I need to mute this. All right, so basically that is it for the Telegram group. So please let's adhere to these rules, right? So to make everything go smoothly and to have a very smooth experience, right? So that is it for Telegram. So this is the platform we're going to be using for the live classes, for our and other activities that we might be having, right? And I also want to say something. I know some of us might have personal questions or questions that we might want to ask. Please, you should, if you have any question you might want to ask, please go to the question and answer session or question and answer subgroup. Drop your questions there. Tag me or tag the assistant tutor or your class rep when you're going to have one, right? Then if neither of us responds, right? If you don't get any response from any of us, then you can now proceed to come to my DM or the assistant tutor's DM. Please don't just barge into our DMs like that, right? We have a lot of messages that we are yet to respond to, unless it's a very personal question or an urgent, you need clarity or something, or there's something that you need our attention on, right? Then you can now come to our DM. But if it's a general issue like this particular issue about the Google Classroom email, I asked everyone to drop their email here. I don't expect you to come to my DM with your email address. You can just drop it here with this particular list, and I'm going to see it. So some of those of us coming to my DM, please let's just try to minimize that, right? So because I quite have a lot of messages that I need to respond to as pertaining this particular program, right? So I just want to ensure that everyone has a smooth experience in this particular program. So yeah, that's it for the Telegram group. So now we're going to be looking at the Google Classroom. Right, so this is the first platform we're using. So the next platform we're going to be using is the Google Classroom. So I'm going to share my screen and show you and then just walk you through that particular one. All right, so just give me a minute here. All right, great. So what you are seeing on the screen now is the Google Classroom, right? So this is a different interface from the one you have, right? This is an interface because I have everything, all the classes here because I am the tutor here, right? So I can organize and moderate all classes. But you as a student, you should be seeing just one class. You should be seeing just one class. So for this particular data science program, right, we have 10 classes, right? So some of us might not know, based on the email you got, you might think it's just one class we have. No, we have 10 classes. So you are either in one of these classes. Now there's something I need you to note. I need you to note your class name. So as you can see here, we have data science clutter chiefs, we have data science data gene, we have data science modelers, and so on and so forth, right? So I need you to take note of the particular class you are in because sometimes you might have an issue that I would want to address, but I need to know the particular class you are in so you can address it effectively, appropriately. So just take note of your class, right? So we have 10 classes here and we have a name for each of these classes. So please just take note of this, right? So this is basically the Google Classroom, and a video was sent on this particular platform to guide you on how to use Google Classroom as a student. You understand? So we'll be giving assignments, we'll be posting materials and resources and a whole lot of other things. So you're expected to interact with this particular platform, do your assignment, and just keep up with everything we would be doing, right? So now you can see if you are, let's assume you're in this particular class and you just open the class, this is what you are going to see, right? So you have your stream, right? This is the teacher's view, right? So it might be different from yours. So this stream is where all informations will be posted. As you can see here, this is the latest information I passed this afternoon before the class. So just take note of that. This is where you get all the things, all the information that um, and I or the assistant will be posting in the classroom. So to have this particular section, which is where all the materials will be organized. As you can see here, we have the different topics, right? This is the preliminary and onboarding resources. So this was the materials that came to us initially, I think, a minute or two ago. So these are the videos that you're supposed to have watched by now. So basically, this is how it is arranged. This is how it's organized in Google Classroom. So in case you missed a class, anything, you can just go to the classwork tabs and just go to that particular week and click on any of the resources that you want to access, and you can just easily access them. So as we are proceeding with the program, we are going to be stacking up different resources week by week, sessions by session, right? So everything here is going to be organized for you, so you can just easily go there and get what you want, right? So that is it for that. You can as well just navigate, check out other things, right? You can check as we are going to be giving assignments. You'll be seeing your grades for each week. Everything is going to be organized for you. So that is it for the Google Classroom. Nothing much. I just wanted um, to emphasize on this particular class name. So just make sure you know your class name here, right? Ensure you know your class name, because when I ask you and you don't know, it is going to be an issue for me to help you with whatever it is you might want help with, right? So yeah, that is it for that, right? And now we're having slight challenge with people entering these classrooms. So we've sent out invitations to everybody, right? We've sent out invitations to everybody. So if you are yet to join any of this class, please check your email, check your spam folder, check your inbox, check every section of your email, right? If it is not there, then you can now come on Telegram and add your email to the list that I sent or the list that I created. So those that I am included an email on that list, you have your name or you should have gotten an email by now. If you didn't include your name there and you're still asking or saying that you're not seeing your or you've not gotten an invite, at this point, it is not our fault, right? So just ensure that you follow the rules, you ensure that you followed the instructions, right? Okay. Um so I'm seeing someone is saying I followed the instructions but abortive. Right. So you just in the question and answer section, just explain exactly what the problem is. I believe everything should be going as it should. All right. So that is it for the Google Classroom. Yeah. So basically you should now understand how to navigate these two platforms. Very, very important. Very, very important. All right. So we are now going to talk about our curriculum and the structure of the program. What should you expect? What are we going to be doing? So, obviously, you the reason you are here is because you selected data science as your course of choice, right? So, what we'll be doing in the course of this program is teaching you everything you need to know to become a data scientist. So by the end of this program, trust me, by the end of this program, you are going to be a confident data scientist. If you follow every single thing, if you follow the lectures, follow the classes, do your assignments, do your project, and just ensure that you keep up with every single thing that is being done. So you can go and ask, I don't know, you can go on LinkedIn, or if you were in the graduation program, you would hear the testimonies of the people in cohort one, right? You saw what they said. Some of them were novice, right? Before they started, they didn't know anything about programming. But after the 3 months of the 3 months program, they are able to do a lot of stuff. They're able to write Python code. They're able to work with data and all those things that you are supposed to do as a data scientist, right? So, for example, in cohort one, the class rep for cohort one was actually a beginner. He didn't know anything about data science. I know we have different categories of people joining this program. We have people that they are just starting. They really don't know what data science is, but they have been hearing about it. Or data science, data science. Let me just try it out. Right, that is one category. There are people that they are beginners. They've started in data science. They are just learning one or two, picking some concepts here and there, watching tutorials, but they don't really have an understanding, a coherent understanding of data science. So you also applied for this program to give you that structure, right? There are some persons that you've gone an extent to an extent in data science, but you still need a little bit guidance, right? So that is those people are actually here. But the thing that I'm going to assure everyone, regardless of the category you're in, is that at the end of this program, you definitely know that you will definitely see a difference. Understand? So what I want to ask you for is your commitment, right? Your commitment and your effort. Trust me, it's not going to be easy, right? It's definitely not going to be easy, but I want you to stay committed for these 3 months that will be here. And trust me, you are not going to regret it. So that is just it about the program. So for our classes, we are going to be having two classes, as I have said, Saturdays and Sundays. I've said that. So basically, you know when our classes should hold, right? So I'm sorry it's not possible to adjust the time. This is the time we've been working with. So please, if you feel this is not convenient for you, you can always make adjustment on your own part, or just I don't know, however it is you want to do it. But the good thing is that we are going to be recording all the classes, right? So currently we are recording this class. So in case you missed a class for some reasons or the other, you can always go back to the recording. So we have a YouTube channel. CareerX has a YouTube channel where all classes are uploaded. So after each week, after the Saturday and Sunday classes, we are going to be dropping the link to the YouTube channel so you can go over the class again, right? So we are making provisions for that. And now our assignment too. So for the assignments, you're going to be getting an assignment every week. So after the Sunday class, you're going to be getting an assignment, right? That would help you to go over what we've done and to internalize what we've done for that particular week. So that assignment will help you, right? And the deadline for the assignment is on Thursdays by Thursday midnight, basically. So you have from Monday to Thursday to do the assignment. Friday and Saturday will be for grading. You understand? So basically, you should be able to know how to schedule yourself to meet up with all this, right? So the assignment is very important. The assignment carries about 30% of your entire grade, while your attendance also is important. So as the assistant tutor, Mr. David has said that you will be taking attendance for each class, right? So if you feel you can just skip classes, you are just going to be doing yourself, right? So try as much as you can as you are following all that things we are doing. Try to attend each class and not just a quick or a brief attendance. Ensure that you stay for a good amount in the class, right? So yeah. So yeah, sorry for that. So basically, that is how it is going to be. Just ensure that you keep up with the attendance. The attendance is 20% of your overall mark. Your assignment is 30% of your overall mark, while your project is 50%. So at the end of the entire program, or towards the end of the program, you'll be given a project to do, a capstone project. So the project is basically be going to capture every single thing we've done, and it's going to be carrying a much higher weight, which is 50%. So if you are able to do your assignment, attend classes, and do your project, well, trust me, you're going to be among the top students. And the top students are there are a lot of things in stock for you, right? So we are collaborating. Access Bank is the part of the sponsor of this program, right? So they're going to be monitoring the student and taking some of you that are going to be doing very well, right? Either to intern with them or to work with them, as well as other companies. So just ensure that you are giving your all in this program. Very, very important. So don't just come here to just um, get another, let's say, another certificate or just to learn, right? Right? It's actually more than that. This program is an initiative to empower people, not just to empower people, but also to make them employable. You understand? So that is it for that, right? So I believe that is very, very clear. Hope we are following. Please, can you let me know, respond in the live chat so I can know if everyone is following me. All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Um, so we are rounding off with this particular section. Before we go into what we have for today proper, I'm still going to um, take you through the curriculum basically. So we have a course curriculum that we're going to be following for this particular program. So I'll be sharing my screen here to show you and walk you through that. So just give me a minute. All right. Okay, so I guess you can see this my screen. So this is basically the curriculum we're going to be following for this particular program. All right, so just give me a minute. All right, so one thing you have to know is that this particular program is unlike what you usually do. If you've been taking courses online before, you definitely note a difference from this program. So this program is basically hands-on, right? Your tutors are there for you to answer your questions. We are there for you to answer your questions. You actually interact with you actually interact with the community very well, with your other colleagues, other learners, basically, and a whole lot of other things. So the experience is actually holistic, right? You're going to enjoy this. You're going to learn a lot. You are going to get a lot from this program. Trust me. And before I forget, there is something we normally do every Friday. So every Friday we do what we call variety night, right? So I believe you've Mr. Bote has told us about that. So there's what we call variety night. So every Friday, someone is going to be speaking or is going to be invited to speak on a particular topic, and that focuses on our soft skills, right? In the particular classes, we are going to be honing our technical skills and the hard skills and the programming and all those things that we want to learn as a data scientist, but that is not enough to make you a whole work effectively in the industry. So you need to understand some other things. You need to understand how to collaborate. You need to understand how to work with other people. You need to understand some things as a data scientist to make you stand out. So the variety night is going to be doing that for you. So I'm asking us, I'm pleading with us that you attend it. So you don't just look forward to attending the classes, you also look forward to attending the variety night. So the variety night is every Friday from 6 p.m., right? Every Friday by 6 p.m. So ensure that you are there. Please ensure that you are there. You definitely get a whole lot from it, trust me. So this is the curriculum we'll be using for this course, right? So this is the data science program, and I'm going to share this with us after this. So these are all the things you need to know about the program, the attendance, the assignment submission, the grading, right? So we'll just go straight to the course schedule itself, so you have an idea of what to expect, right? Okay, give me a minute, please. All right. So now we have 3 months for this particular course. So that is making it 12 weeks. So we'll be breaking all everything we'll be learning into these 12 weeks. So now week one, this is week one. And in this week, we're going to be introducing us to data science and Python programming. So this is the week one is strictly introduction. So we're not going to be doing a lot of technical stuff, right? We're just going to introduce us to get our head started on it, to give us a head start on what we are going to be doing in the following weeks, right? So today particularly I'll be introducing us to data science, right? And tomorrow we will be looking at Python programming. So we'll introduce us to Python programming tomorrow. So after these classes, you'll be given an assignment just to assess what you've learned so far. So this week one is going to be different from the subsequent weeks. So week one, you'll be having two assignments. So you have a quiz assignment, and you also have a code assignment. Yeah. So for today's class, you'll be given a quiz assignment. For tomorrow's class, you'll be given a code assignment. So we'll talk about that tomorrow, right? But just keep that at the back of your mind. So week two will then continue with Python programming. So look at the Python programming basics, right? So we look at some concept there, And then moving on to week 3 and 4. Week 3 and 4 will be looking at then data analysis with non-pandas and non-py, right? So we might actually spill into week 3 from week 2 because some concepts in Python programming might we might not be able to cover everything um, um, under these 2 weeks. So we might spill over to week 3, a little maybe one of the classes in week 3, but then week 3 Sunday class will enter data analysis, or week 4 we enter data analysis with pandas and NumPy. Right, so these are libraries that you are going to be learning as a data scientist. So we'll be taking you through them. Then after that, we'll be moving on to data visualization with Matplotlib and Seaborn. So specifically with Matplotlib. So after that, we'll then move to machine learning. So this should be the second month. So we should be in the second month by now, and we should have gone a little distance. So we're going to be looking at machine learning. If all this is confusing you, don't worry, don't bother yourself. We're going to be looking at all this and clearing your doubts and answering your questions in today's class. So we'll be looking at machine learning fundamentals. We'll be looking at so many things here. Then moving on, we'll do a lot of practical. We'll do a lot of coding, and we'll do a lot of machine learning. So from week 6 to week 10, we are going to be looking at various machine learning concepts. We're going to be looking at doing a lot of stuff in the second to third month. So in the 11th week, then you should be given your capstone project by then. And you would have about 2 weeks to finish with your project, submit, and then you defend your project as well. So the project defense is not going to be everybody. So the project defense is going to be some people that passes or their project score is above a particular threshold. So if you have a very good project score above a particular threshold, you are going to be called for your project defense. So trust me, this is a whole lot of experience. You are going to enjoy this particular program. So just stay tuned for all that. So more information as time goes would be made, will be sent to the groups, and we'll let you know if there is any update on these things, right? So yeah, we're going to now be moving on to the next thing we have here. Right. I hope everyone is following. Please let me know in the group chat if everyone is following, if you understood what I've said so far. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So now we're going to be going to what we have for today. So as you can see on the title, this particular session title, it's Data Science Foundations. Right. But quick one. We are going to be having a class rep and assistant, right? So the reason why we've not done it's going to be by election, right? We're going to send in a poll on the group chat, and everyone is going to vote. There's going to be a nomination that we'll start with a nomination, and then those that are nominated will now move into voting. So the reason why we didn't do it straight away is because we've not known each other yet, so we don't know what we are capable of. So we just need us to get comfortable with each other, at least to an extent. So this particular election would be done after 2 weeks. Right, so I believe after 2 weeks, everybody should get to know themselves and to understand the whole thing and to have an idea of how to do this and navigate this particular program. So you can know if you would want to go for the position or not. So just keep that in mind, right? So once we do that, you can always reach out to them for whatever questions that you might have. They will get in contact with us directly, right? So more information about that will be made known to you. So yeah, that is it. So today we are going to be looking at data science foundations. So I will be sharing my screen now quickly. All right. So if some of us might have questions, don't worry. This particular introductory class will be brief. It will not take so much, so you can ask your questions after that. So just be patient till the end of the class. All right. So can you all see my screen? Can you all see my screen? All right, all right. Okay, so today we are going to be introducing us to data science, right? So this is week one, session one of the data science youth strive program. So we have 12 sessions. So this is the session one, right? So these are just where we organize everything, so you can follow up with each session and know which one you missed. So what we're going to be looking at today is just the basics, right? What is data science? Data science life cycle. How is data science different from data analytics? Data science tools, and then you can ask your questions, right? So without further ado, we're going to go straight into that. So now, the main question: what exactly is data science? Right. So this is a very popular phrase, like a very popular field, right? I believe everyone here have heard or knows about. So what exactly it is it, right? So now data science is an interdisciplinary field. Very important to know that it is not a field like that is not an original field, right, in itself. It is a combination of different fields. It picks from different places, right? So that's why we call it interdisciplinary. So in that sense, it's an interdisciplinary field that combines statistics, combines computer science, combines mathematics, combines data analysis, right? So it is taken from these other fields, these other original fields for one particular reason. What is that reason? To extract insights from data. That is what data science is, right? It is the science of data. So the way we perform this science is by using techniques from different scientific fields like mathematics, computer science, right? Basically, and other fields, right, that we're going to talk about. So, but these are just the fundamental fields that data science takes from. So, I'm going to show you a diagram that illustrates it better, right? So, let me just read exactly what we have here. So, data science is an interdisciplinary field that combines statistical analysis, machine learning, data analysis, and computer science techniques to extract insights and knowledge from structured and unstructured data. So, yeah, this is basically what it is, right? So it involves collecting, cleaning, processing data to make predictions, inform decisions, and solve complex problems across various industries from healthcare and finance to marketing and beyond. So data science is a very popular thing now. Like almost everybody is talking about data science. So it is as a result of explosion in the availability of data. The reason why data science field came up recently is because of the explosion in the availability of data. So let's just look back, let's say 50 years back. 50 years back, there was we didn't have as much data we have now. So there was actually no need for this particular field. So there was nothing to make sense of. You understand? So let's just think of it like this. So let's assume we have what we call crude oil. We all know what crude oil is. So crude oil is just there. We can't actually use it for anything, right? It's just crude, basically. So, but for you to get value for that crude oil, what do you need to do? you need to refine it. You understand? You need to take it through some processes to extract different components from that crude oil. From that crude oil, sorry. So you get from that crude oil, you get petrol, you get diesel, you get gas, you get what have you. Understand? So the same thing with data. So data is like crude oil. Data in its raw format cannot be used for anything. It is meaningless. It is like jargon. You can't use it. You can't make sense of it, right? But when that data is refined, right? You take that data as you take crude oil, and it is refined. We can now get value from it. You understand? You can now get value from it. So I'm still on the second slide. So once I move, you're going to see. Don't worry. And this particular slide has been made available in the Google classroom. So I dropped it before this class, so you can go through it before the class, so to have an idea of what we're going to be doing, right? So if you've not seen it, you should just go back to the classroom and go to week one session when you see it there, right? So as I was saying, that was actually why this field came about. So we needed people that can extract information from this data. So that is why we now had people we call data scientists, data analysts, data engineers, almost people in whatever data professional you know, right? So these are the people that work on data to remove or to bring out insight from it, so you can use it to make informed decisions and you make sense of it, right? So that is why you are here, right? That is why you are in this program, so as you can work effectively with data, right? The end goal of data science is not to be a very good programmer. The end goal of data science is not to be able to do or to make complex or sophisticated visualizations that looks very well. The end goal of data science is not to know how to use all the tools, not to know how to use Python, Power BI, and the rest, and all those data tools that you know. The end goal of data science is to bring out value from data using all these things that you have mentioned. Keep that at the back of your mind. Like, let this not, throughout the course of this program, let this be like the main thing that guides you, right? The end goal of data science is to bring out value from that data. So the process of bringing out value from that data are the things we are going to be looking at in this program. You understand? So that is basically just it about data science. So let's just move on. So as you can see now, this is a diagram. This is a kind of state that shows you the intersection between data science and all other fields that we've talked about. So you can see data science is in the middle, right? Meaning that what it takes from all these circles here. So this circle here is computer science, this circle here is mathematics, and this circle here is business. Understand? So we can see we have machine learning too, we have the intersection of, so basically it just shows you, give you an overall idea and intuition of where data science falls in. So data science picks from each of them, picks of, wait, my slides is not showing. Please can someone confirm that in the graph in the live chats? All
It's
right.
showing. Your flag is still showing.
Yes. Let me reshare it.
It's showing.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you for bringing my attention to that. So let's just continue. So you see the essence of this live chat here, so we can interact as tutors and students. So trust me, this is an interactive class. I'm not just going to be speaking. So we are going to just be having a back and forth, basically, right? So now let's move on. I hope it doesn't repeat itself. All right. Oh, okay. Just give me a minute, please. Think I just should reshare this. Should reshare this. Okay, so you should be seeing it now. Okay, right, perfect. All right. So can everyone see it now? Is it clear?
It's clear.
All right, great. So basically, this diagram is just showing us where data science falls in, right? So we can see we have computer science here, we have mathematics in this particular circle, we have business in this particular circle, right? So the intersection of computer science and business is software development. The combination or intersection of computer science and mathematics or statistics is machine learning. Intersection of mathematics and business is was business analytics. And why the intersection of business and machine learning is what okay, there's no intersection actually, right? So, but data science now takes from these three different circles, right? So, as a data scientist, you have to know some things in computer science, basically, which is how to code, Python programming, basically, and some other things around that, right? So, you have to understand some mathematical concepts and statistical concepts, right? So, for the mathematical concept will be more pronounced or will be more relevant when you are doing machine learning and when you start machine learning, you understand? So, but you don't need to know everything in mathematics to be good at that, right? So don't get intimidated already. And also you have to understand or you have to know what we call domain knowledge or business domain knowledge. So, as a data scientist, you don't work in isolation, you work in a particular domain, right? So, the domain you are working in, you need to understand how that domain is. Let's assume you are a data scientist and you're working in the health sector. Yes, for you to analyze health data, you need to understand some concept in health. You need to understand what or some of these medical terminologies is or what they mean, right? So that is what this particular circle here mean. So if you're working in the financial sector as a data scientist, you need to understand finance. You need to understand all this some financial concept because the data you're going to be working with are data that represent all these financial transactions and some financial jargons, right? So you need to understand that if you're a data scientist and you're working in the hospitality industry, right? That is the hotel and all those, right? What have you? You need to understand some of these technologies. So the data scientists need to have what we call domain knowledge, right? Right. Although there are some companies that would hire a domain expert, right, to help you as a data scientist. So there's situations you don't need to be an expert in that domain. You just need to understand the inner workings, right? So you just need to have fundamental knowledge on that particular domain. Most of the time, you have a domain expert that will be there to guide you through and help you understand some of the things you are doing, mostly in big companies, right? So this is just how data science fits in the entire industry, right? So it takes from different places and just make up what we call data science, right? So now we'll just move ahead with what we have. So as you can see here, data scientists use their expertise to uncover hidden patterns, derive meaningful information, and provide actionable insight, right? So these are things that you'll be doing as a data scientist, right? As I said before, I give you the analogy of crude oil and crude oil, compare crude oil with data. So there are hidden things, hidden patterns in data, right? So for you to know it, you need to be able to perform some things, some use some techniques on that data so as to uncover those hidden patterns. So it's your job as a data scientist to do those things, right? So deriving meaningful information, providing actionable insights. So it can be as simple as getting the mean, the median, the average, the standard deviation of a particular variable, right? It can be as simple as that, and it can also be as complex as using machine learning algorithms to map relationship between an input and an output. So yeah, you can just the that is basically what you be expecting or what you're expected to what you should expect as a data scientist, right? So you'll be uncovering patterns, deriving information, providing actionable insights. So sometimes you might want to know how sales is performing over the course of time, right? So you have a data. You seeing the data is not telling you anything, but once you start your analysis, you start to do a lot of data cleaning and transformation and arranging your data. You will now start getting an understanding, like getting information, and then you can now start uncovering patterns. You can use your visualization to see that pattern. You can do a lot of other things, right? So data scientists leverage a wide array of tools, which we're going to be talking about moving forward, right? So we're going to look at those, including programming languages like Python and R and other platforms, right? So through the application of data science, businesses and organizations can improve decision-making processes. So you should understand the importance of a data scientist in a company. Most of these big companies that you are seeing, right? Google, Microsoft, all these banks you are even seeing, right? In Nigeria, Access Bank, GT Bank. I just think of any company particularly. They are data driven. All of them are data driven, right? You need to be able to make decisions that are less prone to being faulty or decisions that are correct to an extent, right? And to make those decisions, you need to use data because data is what equal to facts. Once you get the data, you're actually gathering facts about the real world, right? So if you're able to get insight from that data and you make decision based on that insight, your decision is mistake proof, like to an extent. You are confident about the decision you are making, right? So that is basically the impact, right, that the data scientists have in a company. So if you don't have data scientists, CEOs, stakeholders, and all these managers, they'll just be guessing. They'll just be like, oh, our sale is not performing very well in Adamawa State, or our sale is not performing well in Enugu State. Why is it not performing well? So they might just guess, oh, maybe it's because something happened, and they might guess to an extent, but sometimes those that guesses are wrong. So they're just guesses, you understand? So you can't put your trust on that. But when you use data, when you collect data and you analyze it, you can know for sure why sales is not performing well in those particular region. And when you are making decision and acting, your action is going to be fruitful, right? Because some of these times you are putting in resources into this thing. So this it just makes the whole process very efficient and makes everything effective. You understand? So that is the importance of data science and data scientists in a company. You should understand how important you are. You understand? So you'll be working most times with managers, you'll be working with people that make decision because the insight you get is going to be what they're going to use in making their decision. So you should be sure that the insight you are getting is dependable. So we're going to talk about all these things as we're moving forward. I just want to give you an overall intuition and understanding of what data science is, right? So yeah, that is it for that. Data, we'll just introduce data science. Now we're going to be looking at the data science life cycle, right? So everything has a life cycle. If you've done software engineering before, you know that software engineering have a life cycle from start to finish. If you've done product management before, you know that product management has a life cycle from start to finish. Now, same thing with data science. Data science has a life cycle from start to finish. These are the steps you would take. These are the steps that will guide you in your data science project or your data science task, or where it is that you'll be doing. Now, this is going to carry us throughout this program. When you are doing your project, this is exactly the process you are going to follow. Understand? So you're going to be looking at the data science life cycle and just explaining the different steps in the life cycle one after the other. So first we have what we call problem identification, right? Problem identification. First off, we don't just embark on a data science project or task without a problem. So the manager might come to you, your manager might come to you and say, oh, so and so, please, we are actually having issues with our sales, right, in this particular region, or we have whatever it is I want to, like, depending, I'm just using sales because it is, we can relate more to it, right? Someone said it has moved to the next slide. Can everyone see my slide? This particular slide I am on. Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. I think I've seen that. Right. So problem identification. You have to have a problem that you want to tackle. There have to be something that you want to solve. A challenge that you need to tackle first. You need to identify it. Right. So you need to so basically this is the first and most important stage of the data science life cycle, where the specific problem or challenge that needs a data driven solution is defined and understood. If you don't define this stage, you'll be doing rubbish basically, like in the rest of the life cycle. So you have to define what it is that you want to do or what problem it is that you want to tackle. You understand? Right? So this stage usually involves you speaking with a lot of people. You talk with your stakeholders, people that are involved, people that give you the particular task to do. Right? So this is just basically the initial stage of a data science project or task. Right? So the next thing, after you understood the problem, now the next thing is what? Business understanding. Remember, I told us something earlier that domain, you don't work in isolation as a data scientist. You work what? In a domain. You understand? So now, after you understand your problem, you need to understand the business. Like, right. So basically, if you are in the agricultural sector, you're a data scientist in the agricultural sector, you need to understand how agriculture work basically, right? So you need to understand that. That's very, very important. So I've explained that already. So I'm not going to dwell much on it again. So what we have here next is the data collection. If you don't have data, then you're not doing data science. Understand? So data is very important, very, very important. A very important step in the data science life cycle. If you are not doing, if you are not using data, you are not doing data science. As simple as that, right? So data collection is a fundamental stage too in the data science life cycle, which involves gathering of data. So the problem that you identified, you need to be able to collect data that can be used to answer that problem. So most of the time, if you're working in a company, the company already has sales record. The company has a database that they have stored data in. So most of the time, you already have the data available. But if you check as a data scientist and you see that this data are not sufficient to answer these questions or to solve this problem, then you can now move on to other data collection methods, right? You can either go primarily to the field to collect the data primarily, right? To collect it, whatever, depending on the kind of data you want to collect. If it is survey data from people, asking people question and recording it, or measuring things, or using sensors or whatever. So there are different ways to collect data. So this is usually the bottleneck of data science. So bottleneck really, mean the most challenging part of data science, right? So if you don't have enough data, then you might not really get useful information. So this stage is very important. So some projects might take weeks, days, weeks, even sometimes months to collect relevant data that will suit the need of your problem. Understand? So just know this. We've talked about problem identification. You need to know the problem or the challenge that you want to tackle Then you understand the context, the business context. Then after you've understood those things, you then go ahead to collect your data, right? So you already understood the problem and the business, so you know the data to collect, right? So you collect it. So there are different ways to collect data, as I said. You can collect it from the database. You can collect it from directly from people, right? Like that is the primary data. You can collect it from web scraping or APIs or other external repositories or the internet. So there are just different ways to collect data, right? So, but in this particular course, we are going to be using um, data that is already available for us on the internet. Understand? So this is the primary way we will be working in this particular program. So moving ahead, after I've collected your data, the next thing is pre-processing of data. Understand? So preprocessing data basically involves a lot of things, right? So some places when you look at data science lifecycle in some place, you would see data cleaning, data transformation, and then it will be broken down. But basically, preprocessing captures all these things. So preprocessing is making your data available, or sorry, readily um, available for analysis, right? Most of the time, your data is not as you want it to be. You might have missing values, you might have duplicate values, you might have outliers, you might have wrong values, you might have incorrect formats, you might have a lot of things that you can't work with. So you have to pre-process that data, you have to clean that data. So in some places we call it data cleaning. So data cleaning is a very important phase in the data science lifecycle. You need to clean your data. Remember what we call garbage in, garbage out. If your data is not clean, you're going to get rubbish insights, right? So because you have data doesn't mean any insight you get is going to be valid. You understand? So you have to make sure that your data is clean before using it for analysis and the other things you'll be doing. So this stage is very, very important. Take notes. Take notes for those that are taking notes, right? So preprocessing data is a the preprocessing data is a critical step in data science lifecycle that involves preparing raw data for analysis. So in this phase, you're going to do a lot of things, right? There are a lot of preprocessing techniques. We have what we call data cleaning. So data cleaning involves cleaning your data. That's just it, right? So the cleaning aspect, you are going to look at it as we are moving ahead in this program. So just keep that at the back of your mind too. So we have transformation. So yeah, so all these things go hand in hand. I won't want to go deep into it, right? Once we get there, we're going to look at them in depth, right? So formatting your data to ensure accuracy and reliability, right? So these are just all the things that you will be doing in this particular phase. So after you've pre-processed your data, the next thing now you will do is what EDA, exploratory data analysis. Exploratory data analysis. Like this is a very popular concept, right? You might have heard it, right? It's a very popular thing. EDA. So EDA is basically exploring your data using data analysis techniques to explore your data. This is when you uncover insights from your data. This is when you uncover patterns from your data. This is when you use visualizations to show or display the things that you've under or that you are getting from your data. So this is when you apply statistical methods, you do a lot of data analysis stuff and all those things that you'll be learning to get valuable insight from your data. So this is the exploratory data analysis part. So just know that before this, your data has to be clean. Understand? Your data has to be clean. My screen is not changing. Is it just I think it's just you. All right. So exploratory data analysis, it comes after you've cleaned your data. So your data has to be clean so that the insight you're getting from your EDA can be reliable. You can rely on that insight. You understand? So we look at all these things definitely, right? So analyzing data is a core stage in the data science life cycle where data scientists explore and examine the prepared data to uncover insights, patterns, trends, and correlation, right? So through descriptive and inferential statistics method, as well as data. So there are a lot of jargons here, right? A lot of concepts that we're going to look at. So these are the things that you use in your EDA. So basically, the library we'll be using for EDA is going to be Pandas, Matplotlib, NumPy, Seaborn. So we're going to look at those moving forward. Right. So for data science, now we're going to look at the difference between data science and data analytics, right? So now, if you are doing data analytics, like this is mostly where you stop, right? If you're a data analyst, this is mostly where you stop. But data science goes further than that. Now, data science uses a technique we call machine learning. So machine learning now introduces what we call predictive analysis. So sometimes you might not just want to describe your data, you want to also be able to predict things with your data, make predictions with your data. Understand? So let's say you are selling or you have a business that sells stuff and you already have a record, an historical record of sales. So you want to be able to predict into the future how much sales you'll be able to make going forward using the data you already had or the sales you already made previously. So that is where machine learning comes in. As a data scientist, you should be able to do this. You should be able to create models, machine learning models that will be able to make accurate predictions, right? So there are a lot of things to learn here, like a lot of things, right? So this is when we are going to take it a little bit up, right? So you might be enjoying it and cruising as we are going through these other stages we've talked about. But when we reach machine learning, trust me, it's going to be interesting, definitely. It's going to be new to most of us, and it's also going to be challenging. So I just want to prepare your mind to to just give you that realistic expectation. Definitely, you are going to definitely enjoy it. So as I've said, beginners, intermediates, what have you, or whoever it is you are, if you commit your time, effort, you are going to come out with a lot from this program. So this is something I'll keep saying as we are moving forward. Right? So now that is for data modeling. Data model is a pivotal phase in data science, like where data scientists develop predictive descriptive using algorithms in machine learning. So these descriptive models are designed to identify patterns and relationships in the data, enabling accuracy. So this is basically what I just explained now, understand? So basically, let's just go back. We've talked about problem identification. We said you have to identify the problem. Then you move on to business understanding. You need to understand the business that you are in, right? If it's in the financial industry, if it's the finance business, if it's the agriculture business, if it's the health business, if it's the hospitality business, if it's the any kind of business you have, aviation business, transport have you. So a data scientist can work anywhere. So most of us here, I believe most of us are already working. So as a data scientist, you don't need to leave what you are doing per se to become a data scientist. You can apply data science in what you are doing depending on your company, right? So basically it is very flexible, right? So as long as there's data available, where you can always use it, apply it to the domain that you are currently working in rather. So we've talked about data collection too, right? Different ways to collect data. Then we'll move to the pre-processing of data, right? Cleaning, transforming, and all these things that we talked about. Then we move to exploratory data analysis, which is EDA, and then data modeling, right? Now, the next one is what we call model evaluation. So, basically, after you've created your model, you need to evaluate it to ensure that the model is doing very well, right? So you ensure that the model is doing very well. So there are a lot of things to learn here. We're going to look at that. So model evaluation is a vital stage in data science lifecycle, right? Where performance and the effectiveness of your developed models are assessed, right? So there are a lot of things to do, honestly. So then model deployment. So this model deployment is not really it is for data scientists per se. You might not be deploying models. So this is strictly for is mostly for machine learning engineers. But model deployment completes the life cycle of data. So once you are done building your model in a company that has a well-structured and organized data team, the data scientist will pass it on the model to the machine learning engineer. So the machine learning engineer will now deploy this model into production where it can be used by people, right? So mostly data scientist, your work ends in the model evaluation part, but it won't hurt if you learn how to deploy your models, right? So they're actually very, very There are things that you can use that have made it easier for us in Python. You can use a lot of libraries, some libraries, useful libraries, and the rest. So, but for this particular program, we're not going to be looking at model deployments, right? So that is going to take a whole lot of time. We are going to be ending here in the model evaluation part. But if we have time, I could just look at take us on one or two aspect of model deployment. But just know that you are okay once you get here. But moving forward, you can as well explore this model deployment aspect. So it involves you to learn other things, right? Other things, right? So that's it for the data science lifecycle. Basically, we've covered it all, right? So this is just the summary, right? Defining the problem, data collection and preparation, exploratory data analysis, model building and evaluation, and then deployment and what maintenance. So this stage, as I've said, usually for ML engineers. So, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't or you can't do it too. So next thing here we have here is the data science tools. So we'll quickly look at the tools we are going to be using, or the tools that is being used in data science. We're not going to use everything here, but these are the things that you're expected to see a data scientist use, right? So first we have Python programming language. So Python is like the lingua franca of data scientists, right? It's the common language that we use in communicating. Basically, that is what as a data scientist, you just need to know Python. Very important. So we'll be introducing Python tomorrow, right? So we'll get to understand how to use that. Also, we also have what we call R programming language. So this is another programming language that you can use, but not really as popular as Python, right? So yeah, so basically we are going to just be looking at Python in this course, right? So next we have what we call Jupyter Notebook. So Jupyter Notebook is a platform where you write your code. So if you've written code before, you know that we use things like VS Code and Sublime, Atom, and so many other things. But for data scientists, what we use is Jupyter Notebook. So it actually makes writing code easy. Tomorrow we're going to look at it. I'm going to show you how to use it. So for those that are yet to install Anaconda, because this Jupyter Notebook comes with Anaconda. So if you've not installed Anaconda yet, please do so. But still, I'm still going to take you through how to do that tomorrow, right? And how to open Jupyter Notebook and set it all up. But the video to guide you is already in the Google Classroom already, right? So next one we have here is TensorFlow. So TensorFlow or PyTorch, or we have PyTorch too, I didn't include that. So basically this is for deep learning. So this is a tool used for advanced machine learning. We are not going to be using that in this program, right? So if you are moving forward, you will definitely come across this particular tool. So we have cloud services, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, and the rest. So this is for deploying your models. So all these things, you're definitely going to meet them, but not in this course. So what we're going to be looking at in this course is Python, Jupyter Notebook, Pandas, NumPy, Scikit-learn, Matplotlib, Seaborn. All right, so these five libraries I just mentioned now, they are libraries in Python that we're going to be using to do a whole lot of things, right? We will use Pandas for data analysis, right, and manipulation. We use NumPy for numerical computing, right? So we're going to dedicate classes to take us through each of these libraries. So scikit-learn is for machine learning, right? NumPy is for numerical, anything compute or mathematical operation is NumPy. So it works with array. Pandas is basically data analysis and manipulation. So all your data analysis that you'll be doing, all your EDA, you'll be doing them with Pandas. So we have Matplotlib and Seaborn. So these two libraries here are going to be used for visualization. So data visualization, you'll be using these two libraries for. So basically, that is the tools that you expect. Although there are a lot of other tools that are the relevant. Those are the most common one that we'll be using. Right. So moving on. So before I move on, please can you let me the group chat if you can still hear me clearly? All right. Thank you very much. So let's move forward. Let's move forward. Now we are going to be looking at the differences between data science and data analytics, right? We're going to be looking at data science and data analytics. So now we are going to look at that because some of us we don't really know the difference between these two. So it's necessary that we take you through that and you understand how to differentiate between data science and data analytics. So we're going to look at it under different headings. We look at it under scope, we look at it under methodologies, we look at it under objectives, look at it under skills, and we look at it under data types. You understand? Basically, and we also look at it under end goal and application. Right. So this is what we're going to be wrapping up with today. So now let's look at the scope. So how does data science differ from data analytics? So you can see here that data science, as I've explained, is a broad field. Understand? It encompasses data analytics actually. As we talked about EDA, exploratory data analytics, right? So it's actually broader than data analytics. So if you're a data scientist, you know how to do data analysis too, yeah, basically, but you'll be limited to some certain tools because you'll be working mostly with Python. Unless you want to learn other tools that data analysts use like Power BI, Tableau, Excel, SQL, and the rest, right? So, but basically, it encompasses data analytics conceptually, and it also focuses on the entire data processing pipeline, including data cleansing, analysis, and model creation, as we've talked about. Why for data analytics, it is more focused on processing and performing statistical analysis on existing data sets. So basically what you'll be doing in data analytics is just describing your data, your historical data, right? To find insight from that. So, but for data science, you go beyond that to create models and to do a lot of other complex stuff, right? For predictions. So now for methodologies, right? Data science utilizes advanced statistical, machine learning, and deep learning techniques, right? It involves predictive modeling and algorithm development, as we've talked about. So, while for data analytics, it primarily involves descriptive and inferential statistics, EDA, as we've talked about, and data visualization. So, this is what you be if a data science analyst will be mostly focused on, right? Just descriptive and inferential, EDA, and Vs. Why data scientists might also be focused on these things, but we go beyond that and also use advanced statistical, machine learning, and deep learning techniques for making predictive models, right? So this is the difference between that under scope and under methodologies or methodology, basically, right? So we go on to the objectives, right? The objective. So, data science, the objective here is to create new data products and innovation through predictive modeling and data product development. So, this is just telling us that as a data scientist, most time you can be part of a team that create data products. So, we have what we call data products, the same way we have normal tech products. So, data products are mostly those products that are created using data. So, for instance, we have products like ChatGTP. So, ChatGTP is actually a data product, is an AI product, right? But basically, it was gotten from data. It was created using a whole lot of data. We won't go into details on how that happened, but basically, ChatGPT is an example of a data product. So, the data scientist might also be involved in that kind of process, right? In that data product development process, right? While for data analyst or analytics, they focus on solving specific problems, making decisions, and generating reports and dashboards to inform business strategy. So the data analyst is still there. They're just focused on the business, trying to ensure that processes are going well and they are giving accurate reports and insight findings to the stakeholders, showing dashboards and presenting dashboards to help inform business strategies and business decisions, right? So this is one of the difference between data science and data analytics, right? So although there are a lot that are still that we can talk about this particular objective here, right? But this is just the basic difference. So we have the skills, the skill aspect. So now, as a data scientist, you need to be more comfortable with using a computer as well as programming. So as a data analyst, you don't necessarily need to know how to program, right? You can use other tools, GUI tools to do your analysis work. But a data scientist, you don't have any option. You need to know how to program. Most of the things you'll be doing is through programming using Python. That is the fundamental difference in the skill aspect between data science and data analytics. You need to know programming. You need to understand statistics like some concept in mathematics like linear algebra, like calculus, basically, when you are into machine learning, right? But trust me, you don't need to know these things, right, per se, to be able to do something. But it will help you to be a more effective data scientist because you understand how these things are working, right? Especially those of us that might want to go into the research aspect of machine learning. So you need to understand how these architectures, these algorithms are created, right? So that would push you to learn some of this mathematical concept and the rest. So it's actually more complex and more sophisticated, right, than being a data analyst, right? So that is for the skill aspect. Now, for the kind of data that you'll be working with, so basically, a data scientist will be working with structured and unstructured data. So this might sound strange to you or new to you, but basically structured data are data that we are all familiar with, right? Structured data are like data that we see on Excel that has rows and we have columns, we have rows and columns, basically like an Excel spreadsheet. That is what structured data is. Unstructured data are data that are not like that and they are not represented in that format. They're like images. Images are data, audio clips, text, right? All these things are data, but they are not structured. You understand? So a data scientist will work with these two kinds of data, while the data analyst would use mostly structured data while working. So you see them working with Excel, working with SQL database that has these rows and column tables and everything. So their data is more structured. But for a data scientist, you see them working with images, right? When you're into deep learning, you are trying to learn how to classify images using convolutional neural network. You'll be working with image data. Or when you are doing NLP and you want to do speech to text, right? You'll be working with audio clips, or when you're doing creating chatbot and the rest, you're working with text data. So a data scientist goes further than structured data to using unstructured data. So it takes a whole lot of learning and also advanced techniques to work with those kind of data, right? So I think you're already getting the idea of the difference, right? So the another one is the end goal, right? So the end goal of data science is to discover patterns and insight to develop new strategies, products, or technological advancements. So I think it's similar to the objective that we've talked about here. So the same thing for data analytics. So basically, you are there to provide actionable insights that impact business decisions and operational efficiency, right? So trust me, if you're a data scientist, you will also almost be able to do these things that data analysts do, but they might have an edge, right? Because they are more focused on that and they have specific tools they use for it, right? But you can always adapt, be flexible with actually doing those things. So the applications of these two fields. So basically, I'm basically just reiterating at this point. So you can in data science you develop applications, recommendation systems, and automating processes. While in data analytics, you optimize business processes, improve marketing strategies, enhance operational efficiency. So this is basically the difference between these two fields. So I needed to flesh that out so we understand it and we know what exactly it is we are doing. So let's just look at what we've done so far. So basically, we've looked at data science, right? I've given you an idea of what it is, right? Giving you where data science fits in all these fields that we've mentioned. We looked at the life cycle, data science life cycle, defining problem, business understanding, data collection, preprocessing, data cleaning, exploratory data analysis, data modeling, model evaluation, and model deployment. We looked at the data science tools where we'll be using, talked about Python, Jupyter Notebook, Pandas, NumPy, and the rest. You understand? So we then move on to look at the differences between data science and data analytics. So this we've come to the end of this particular class. So as I said before, this is just to introduce us to data science. So we have an idea of what it is we are entering. So it's not a lengthy class at all. So moving forward, we're going to be we're going to be spending more time looking at all the things that we've mentioned today. So basically, I just put this in to show you what a data analyst do. So for a for a data scientist, at the end of the program, you're going to see it because you're going to be doing a project, right? So mostly what you have is a code. You have a Jupyter notebook, everything in code organized and the rest. But a data analyst, this is what they usually have as their final result. Right? They have this is what we call a dashboard, right? So the dashboard having different visualizations. So you can just use it to and present to your stakeholder, telling them how the performance of their different hotels or what have you, right? So depending on what it is you're analyzing. So this is basically what you expect to see from a data analyst, right? But for a data scientist, stay to the end of this program to find out. So we've come to the end of this particular class. So we've been able to introduce to you what data science is, and I believe you've been able to grasp and gain intuition and also understand what it is you are going to be doing in the next 12 weeks. So I'm going to be taking questions at this point. So if you want to ask a question, please just raise your hand. There is a sign that's a sign at the bottom of your screen or phone or whatever it is you are using. If you want to ask a question, just tap it. Then I'll unmute you and you go ahead to speak. All right. So we have a lot of questions. Okay, so I'm going to be starting from the bottom. I think that's the first person. Promise. Please promise I'm going to be unmuting you now. You can unmute yourself and speak. Promise, please unmute yourself and speak.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for this session. I really enjoyed it. So my question is because what we are more dependent on now is because you wouldn't want a situation where you learn something, it's as if it's dormant. What is the prevalence of job opportunity towards data as a data scientist? How is data science to the world at large? The job opportunities between a data scientist and a data analyst, and then is somebody in all these back end and front end development, which has more job opportunities because these things are arguably most times arguable most times. So the job opportunities, the world global job opportunities, even okay, Nigeria for example, the job demand of a data scientist, how is it like currently?
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. So that is a good question. You understand the reason why we are doing this program is not just to learn for learning's sake, right? You want to learn to be able to be employable, to be able to add value in a company or a business. So basically, the job opportunity for a data scientist is I can't really give you a statistics on that, right? But trust me, there are jobs available. But the thing is just that currently in Nigeria, you'd have the truth is that you would have more opportunities for a data analyst than a data scientist. And there are actually reasons to this. Like we've actually not organizations here have actually not adopted um, these processes or systems that will make them start to employ data scientists as much as they can. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're not data scientists job. They are, but not compared to the data analysts. We don't really have as much as we have for data analysts, right? But trust me, if you can stand out, if you can improve on yourself and do very well, yeah, it just what is going to take is just time. Right? Trust me, you're definitely going to get a job. So it's actually it can be a concern for most people, and it's not just data science. It's everywhere. Getting a job is not easy. You understand? But you just have to ensure that you are consistent with what you are doing. You are consistent with learning, and you know what you should know to work in that particular place. You are good enough. So when you land interviews, you are able to defend yourself. You're able to show them that yes, you can do these things, and then yeah, you would get what you want to get. To understand. So, but if you are looking at outside, trust me, the jobs there are numerous. Like outside there are a lot of jobs for data scientists. Right? There are actually a lot of jobs for data scientists. So it just depends on you to be able to prove yourself to be able to do what they want. Understand, right? So that job search is actually a different thing on its own, right? It's a different thing on its own. So I hope I'm been able to clear that. Right, we have a lot of questions here. I don't know. All right, Udo Francis, you can speak. Udo Francis, please go ahead and speak. I've unmute you. Yeah, if you don't, I'm going to be calling on the next person. We don't have time. Francis Udo, you raise your hand. If you want to speak, go ahead and speak, please. Just unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. Tap on the. I've unmuted you, so just unmute yourself and speak.
Right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Udo Francis. I'm joining
Your
from
voice is faint. I can barely hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. Go on.
My question is, someone also be a data analyst and at the same time also a data scientist. That is one. Then the other one, I want you to help share the introductory part of the subject, like where you defined data science. I didn't get that part. I want you to share on the screen what data science is so I can get it done. Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, definitely. For your first question, you can actually okay. For the first question, you can actually be a data analyst and a data scientist, right? Definitely. So you because a data scientist would have a conceptual understanding of most of these data science tools. It's just that there are some tools that you might not learn as a data scientist. So you need to go back to learn those tools. So to become a data analyst, basically, you need to understand or how to use or know how to use some of these tools: Excel, Power BI, SQL, basically, right? So these three fundamental tools, you need to know how to use them. But you should already know how to approach analysis. Right? That is very important. You should already know how to approach analysis. Right. So as learning data science will teach you all these things. So but if you want to become a data analyst, you can just go ahead and learn all these other tools and use them in implementing or doing your analysis. So yeah, sure, you can become a data. It's easier for you to become a data analyst from a data scientist than it is to become a data scientist from a data analyst. So I hope that answers the question. And as regards the data science explanation, because of time, I might not be able to do that. The recording for this particular class will be made available, so you can anyone that you missed. That is why we are recording. So any part or portion that you missed, you can always go back to the recording and rewatch as many times as you can. So we can't actually go back to that because we have a lot of questions to answer. So please just look out for that. The recording will be made available on the Google Classroom, and the material too that we used is already made available. It's on the Google Classroom as well, so you can go ahead and do that. So most of your time in this program would be spent on self learning, right? We are going to be having these lectures every weekend, but you also need to, for you to distinguish yourself, you also need to go the extra mile to learn some other things, to revise on what we've done, to look at some of these things deeper, right? So basically, just to just help you overall, and you'll find this program easy. So the recording will be made available, please, and you can go to the particular portion that you didn't understand, and um, gain clarity on that. So thank you very much. So if we had enough time, I would have gone back to that. So we have okay, who wants okay. Um Amalu. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm so sorry if I murdered it. But you are on mute now and you can unmute yourself and speak. Just unmute yourself. Tap on the unmute button and ask your question.
Good evening, sir. Good evening,
Yeah, good evening.
everyone. Thanks for the lecture.
So
Though I
please, can you
joined,
help me with your the pronunciation of your name so I know exactly how to pronounce it?
Amalo.
Okay, Amalu. Thank you. Can go on.
Thank you. Thanks for the lecture. Though I joined late. Somebody has asked the question I want to the difference between data analyst and data scientist. You explained it very well. So thanks very much.
Right.
When I have other questions, I will still ask. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. So Emmanuel, please, I've unmute you now. You can go on and unmute yourself. Emmanuel, please unmute yourself and ask a question. Just tap on the unmute button on your phone or laptop. Please, we don't have time. Okay, I think you might be having a challenge. So I'm going to go on to the next person. Ismail Taiwo, you're on mute now, so you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Ismail. Okay,
Can you
Emmanuel
hear
is
me?
here.
Can you hear me? Good evening. Can you hear me?
All right, Emmanuel, yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Some already answered my first question, which is you can watch this thing maybe later on because we're having some network issues around my area. Then my second question is, how do you address a data scientist? Just very, very simple. How do you address a data scientist? Is it by calling him an engineer or just? I just want to know. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you answered it already. Data scientist is the name you used to address a data scientist. So you call them a data scientist. That is it. Basically, you call them a data
Okay.
scientist. So
Okay.
if
All right. Thank you, sir.
if you're able to do all the things that a data scientist can do, then you're a data scientist. As simple as that.
But sir, is there a difference between a data scientist and a data engineer?
Yeah, there's a difference. So those are um, two different data professionals. So a data engineer, what they do basically is to make your data ready for you. So most of the time, in the data collection process, okay, let me connect you. All right. So in the data collection process, most times companies might have data engineers. Sometimes they might not. So the data scientists will be the one to do some of this data collection. But when we have data engineers, they are the one that are tasked with collecting the data, processing it, and making it available for analysis. That's what the data engineer do. So a data engineer, the main difference is that they don't do any analysis. They don't analyze data at all. Their own is just to work on the data to make it ready, build pipelines, do a lot of stuff, transforming, extract, transform, load. So that is basically the process they follow to make that data readily available. So there are a lot of things that actually go into that, right? So, but they don't do any analysis at all. They don't do any machine learning at all. Understand? So that is what a data engineer do, and that is how they are different from a data scientist. So I believe that answers your question. So do you have any other question? Okay. All right. So I'll go on to the next person. That should be Ismail. So Ismail. All right, Ismail, please just unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Well, thank you for the class. So,
Yeah.
during the course of the class, you mentioned about the data we'll be using for the class. So, you made mention of using an already prepared data, but you also mentioned that there are data from web scraping, API, etc. But you won't be talking about them. So, if you actually want to get data from those API, web scraping, and all, how are we going to get it? Well, are you going to share us the material that maybe we might study ourselves to actually get all those, since we are focusing on already made data? Thank you. That's my question, sir.
Okay, thank you for that question. So what I mean by already made data is like an Excel data. So the reason why we are doing that or using that kind of data is it's mostly what you'll be using, right? It's actually the most common way. Right. So the other methods I mentioned, which is API, is actually also similar. So we can actually look at it in the course of the program. There is actually nothing more to that. It's just using a function in Python and making an API call basically. So, but this particular program won't be covering all those things, right? So, but I can the material I'll be sending, right? There's a reference material I'm going to show us at the end of this class. It will carry all this other information, all these other things that we might not look at in depth, so you can read them and get to understand how to do them, right? But trust me, the things you're going to be doing are the things that are necessary that you need to know how to do, right? So once you master them, you can always learn, right? So I don't want you to focus on learning everything. I want you to focus on learning the essentials, those things that are essential that you need to know. So once you are able to grasp that and master it, then any other thing that you need to learn, it will just be a walk in the park for you. So you can just take maybe an hour or so just to understand how to do it, or a few minutes. So just try to focus on what we are going to be doing, right? So the other ones you can just maybe by the side learning them and all. So that's just going to be about that. I hope
Thank
that
you.
answers your question.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So um Isaiah Isaiah, you can unmute yourself. I don't know if you can take everybody, but let's see. Isaiah, please unmute yourself and ask a question. Yeah, unmute yourself, please. There's no time. Isaiah, you're unmuted. Just unmute yourself. Tap on the unmute button and ask your question. All right, so let's just go on ahead with the next person. Okori Michael. Okori Michael, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Evening. Hello.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Yeah. I'm glad to be part of this very online learning. So, what I'm most interested in how one can leverage on the skills
I can't hear
acquired.
you.
Hello,
Can you come
hello.
again? Yeah, I
What
can hear you.
I
Go
said,
on.
what interests me most is how one can leverage on the skills and knowledge acquired. So, but what I wanted to know is that because I did a cybersecurity analysis just recently. So, and I recently had developed interest in tech. So, I want to know to what extent should one, you know, uh, improve one's skill, because I understand the fact that needs to continuously, learn. So, is there any platform that will enable us to improve our skills from time to time through this very platform?
Um. Okay. Yeah. That's a good question. Like you're talking about continuous learning, which is good. So for this particular program, you are going to get the foundations and the essentials of data science, right? So if you remember, I said something about advanced machine learning, which is deep learning, and AI and the other stuff. So after this particular program, you might want to advance, right, into deep learning, into AI. You might even want to become an ML engineer, because ML engineers there is a different field on its own. So that one is solely focused on machine learning. Understand? So they are solely focused on machine learning. So you might want to transition into that. Or you might want to be purely a data scientist that would be doing using traditional ML machine learning for tasks, and also doing a lot of other stuff. But you can also be a data analyst too. Like, so as a data scientist, you have a lot of options. So you can go to become an ML engineer, which require you to up your game, learning new stuff and the rest. You can still maintain yourself as a data scientist, which would also require you to up your game too, because there are a whole lot of things to learn, right? Or you can become a data analyst, right? And just remain in the analysis part, doing analysis and all those things, statistics and the rest. So the platform for learning, the thing is that it would be distracting, right? No, no, not necessarily distracting, but I would advise that you focus on what we are doing currently, unless you already understand all these things, right? That we are going to do. But if you don't, I would advise that you focus on them, right? Learn what you can learn from here for these 3 months, right? And if you can combine effectively with other platforms, that's actually fine. We have Coursera, which will give you great courses. We have other platforms, Udemy. We have a lot of them out there. We have some good YouTube videos, playlists, and the rest. So, but for the sake of this program, it's advised that you focus on what we are doing, keep up with the materials, the assignment, the lectures, and everything. And trust me, you're going to get involved. So once you are done, you can now decide that, okay, I want to advance my learning. I want to do this. I want to do that. Right. So, and obviously, I would advise you to continue learning. Like, don't stop at all, because if you stop, then you'll be carried by the wave, because things are advancing very quickly. I believe that answers your question. Right, so, time we are actually running out of time here. I don't know how we're going to do this now. Okay, so what's going to happen is let me see how much time do we. Okay, let's just go on. I think I'll still have to take some few more persons. All right, Abubakar Ali Ali, please unmute yourself and speak. You're unmuted. So as I'm unmuting you, please just proceed to unmute yourself because of time. If not, I'll move on to the next person. So Abubakar, please go on and ask your question. Just unmute yourself. Tap on the unmute button so you can speak. All right, so let me move on to the next person. Henry Savior Udo. Yeah, yeah, on mute now. Please go on and ask your question. Henry Savior. Oh, yeah, Henry Savior Udo, please.
Hello, can you hear me? Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir. Good evening. I can hear you.
Yes, sir. Good evening, my dear colleague also. I want to appreciate you for the time you have taken to expose us to the training of tonight, the fundamentals of data science. Sir, please, I want to ask a question that for me that did accounting. Now, I am learning data science. How in a typical organization, where will I fit in? As in, where will I, if I get this now and I want to work with it, where will I fit in, sir? That's just my question, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, the thing is, there are different places you can fit in as a data scientist working in an accounting firm, right? So, I don't really know much about accounting, but I can tell you that definitely, you have a lot of options. You have a lot of options. So it can vary from company to company, right? So they have fraud detection. There's a particular part of ML that actually does or has to do with fraud detection, so detecting fraudulent activities, financial transactions, and so many other things. I think there are a lot of possibilities when it comes to accounting. So it's just for you to understand the domain you're working in, right? Everybody, as I am now, I can't really tell you with full assurance that, yeah, this is what you'll be doing, right? So it's just for you to understand your domain and what you want to do. So I want you to do research on your domain as regards machine learning, right? So I done one already. You can actually, there are places or there are places where, usually in banks, right, or in accounting firms or institutions. So they process a lot of financial statements and the rest. So they can also like build models that, please let me unmute you. So they build models that flags suspicious transactions. So you can also fit in that kind of team. So it's a potential place where you can fit in. The other places are in the accounting sector, right? So, but I'll just give that to you. Just make your research and look at what the possibilities are, right? So, and just align yourself to it. So, moving on to the next person. Young, no, we have Israel. Israel, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
All right, thank you so much for this wonderful session. I have two questions briefly. The course of setting up this program, you made mention of we should be specific on the particular aspect we have in this data science class. I would like you to please explain how we have to be precise on the aspect we have. I mean, in this particular data science class. That's the first question. And the second question is, as a data science, how do we, I think it's answered in the previous class, the previous response we gave. But I want to be precise, how we are going to be sure of the exact class we found out.
The exact
Thank you.
what?
I mean the exact session in this data science class. You made mention of the particular section we have that we have to be sure.
Oh, I don't think I get your question,
Uh,
but
um,
okay,
Mr. Manda, can you hear me? All right.
okay, yeah.
Basically, what we're trying to say is that you should know the class you are. Don't be in two classes in the Google Classroom. If you are in two classes, it's either you indicate to us or will remove you from one class, or you remove yourself. You must be just in a class. Don't be in two classes. That's what he was trying to point at in the Google Classroom. You understand?
All
Okay,
right.
okay.
All
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. David. So you've had it. So please, if this goes to everyone too, if you are in more than a class in the Google Classroom, just remove yourself from one of the classes, or you indicate right? So it's easier for you. Remove yourself from one of the class. I showed you the Google Classroom, right? I shared my screen. So you should be in only one class there, right? As Mr. David has said, you should not be in more than one class. So please remove yourself if you're in more than one class. So thank you very much. All right, so let's look at, so we can't actually take everyone. So I'll just Salifu Abu. Don't know if I got that right, but please go ahead and ask your question. Salifu. All right. Manessa,
Can you
just
hear me, please?
okay, yeah, I can hear
Hello?
you. Go on. Yeah, go on.
Um, all right. Good evening, Mr. Emmanuel. Good evening to
Yeah,
you
good
all. My name is Abu Salifu, and
Salifu.
thank you so much for the lecture. Um, During the course of the lecture, I know you talked about the data science life cycle, um the deployment phase. You actually said it's not part of the program, but my question is um directed towards that. I don't know if I should go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
That- Is he every data science project that actually every data science model that actually requires deployment?
Okay, yeah, the essence, the life cycle I showed you is the ideal data science life cycle. Of course, when creating a model, the essence of creating that model is for other people to use it, right? It's for a business process so that you can integrate it with your app or something or what have you. So basically, in an ideal setting, your data science project should always end in the deployment phase. So you should always deploy it to production. The same way as a software engineer, you create your application and everything. You don't just create your application and keep it in your computer, right? No, it doesn't make sense, right? So you create your product and you deploy it right into production so people can have access to it over the internet and make use of it. That's the same thing we have here. So the deployment phase is actually important, right? Unless you're just doing a project for your portfolio, like you just want to do your project for to show off your skill and everything for your recruiters and the rest. But in a business setting, your project or your task will always end in deployment. So that is just the ideal life cycle for data science. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right. Okay. Bong Thompson. Thompson, please unmute yourself and speak. Hello. Hello, Thompson. Your voice is so faint. I can barely hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Seems you're far from your mic or something.
Can you hear me now?
Hello? Can you hear me,
Yeah, I can
please?
hear you now. Please go ahead.
Okay. So my name is Ubong Thompson. I want to say a very big thank you for putting up this, great lesson. It has been an amazing time. I must tell you, I really learned a lot. So I know that to make more money in Nigeria today, you have to be a problem solver. And I happen to work in an educational environment, like a school, a secondary school. So I want to ask, like, how do I integrate this data science knowledge to an administrative department of a school? Like, do I have a chance maybe at the end of this program, I'll learn a skill that will help me, optimize or up my games in an administrative sector of a school? So that's my question, sir.
Okay. Um, all right. So all these questions are questions that you can't really give a direct or straight answer to. It involves you taking your time to look at the context, look at a lot of stuff, the where exactly it is you are currently. So for what I can say is there definitely a lot of application. First off, if you have data, like if you have data, student data, like okay, let me even ask you that question. Do you have data that are being collected, like
Yeah.
relating to the students?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Exactly.
Definitely.
So if you have this data, you can look at the kind of data that are being collected, right? You can look at
Okay.
the variables and everything. And from then, it can now start informing the kind of things you can do with it. Right, so I can't really tell you exactly what you can do with it now. I'll just be giving you a generalization, a general. But you yourself, you know exactly what you are doing, right? You
Okay.
know the kind
Okay.
of space you occupy and the functions of your role in that administrative in the administration, right? So just look at where you can actually bring in this particular data science knowledge. For example, you can actually start to analyze the student performance, right? Look at the student performance you over the years. You can look at it, check out different variables which variable affect student performance. You can do a line chart to predict the you can even use a predictive model to be able to predict future performance based on the ones you already have. So there are a lot of things, right? But it involves you sitting down, thinking about it, looking at a lot of stuff, and then coming up with something, right? So it's not just a question that would get a straight answer like that. You understand? So but once you go through this program, trust me, you're going to be getting a lot of ideas, right? Once you are going through this program, a lot of ideas will be coming to you. Oh, wow. Now I've learned this. So I can actually use this in this particular area. Oh, now I've learned this. I can actually, so trust me, you'll be filled, you'll be laden with a lot of idea, right? So just take your time and go through what we've been doing. And yeah, I believe you are going to get something out of it. I hope that I've
Thank you
answered your
very much, sir. Thank you. Really appreciate. Thank you.
question. All right, so let's see. Okay, Manes said justice. I think I called you initially, right? You can unmute yourself and speak. Manes said justice. Please unmute yourself.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good
Thank you so
evening.
much. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for this session.
yeah, you're
I
welcome.
wanted to thank you, sir. I wanted to ask a question pertaining data encoder. I've been hearing about data science, data analytics. I've been hearing about data engineer, data miner. So, if a company is hiring you to be a data encoder, I wanted to know which which of the life cycle of data science are you falling into?
Okay, data encoder. These days we get a lot of new job descriptions, right? From what I know, data encoder basically, I think you just encode data, right? I can't really tell the specifics, right? But data encoding might just be you entering data or encoding a particular data into a software that will be used for analysis by a data scientist, right? So I doubt you'd be doing the data encoder will be doing the analysis themselves. So you just have to read the job description to know exactly what they'll be doing. So a lot of times companies post job roles, and that are kind of vague, right? So you have to
Yes.
understand what is required of you by just going through the job description so that you know what to expect and what you're supposed to do there. Right. Thank you. I believe that has answered your
Okay.
question.
So, sorry. Secondly, sir, if you are a data scientist, during your data modeling, what tools or what software should you use for your data modeling? Is it Python?
We looked at that already, right? We are going to be using scikit-learn mostly, You can use scikit-learn for traditional ML, right, that we're going to be looking at in this program. So going further, you can use TensorFlow for deep learning. You can use PyTorch for deep learning. So these are just the three most common data modeling tools that we have. So, but for this particular course, we using scikit-learn for that. So don't worry, you get
Okay.
to understand all this as we proceed.
Okay.
All right. James Esuk, I hope please just correct me on your pronunciation. So James, I'm unmuting you now. You can come up and ask your question. Please pardon me if I didn't pronounce your name correctly. So just unmute yourself, please.
Good afternoon, or good afternoon, the tutor. My name is
Yeah,
James Esuk.
Esuk,
Please, can you hear me?
yeah.
Okay. Okay. I want to ask this question. I know to some it might sound funny, but I think it is a very interesting one. For somebody who is always afraid of mathematics, does not love mathematics, in fact, get fever whenever he's confronted with mathematics. Can such a person succeed or scale through and succeed as a data scientist? Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for that question. So yeah, I said that it's important that you know maths, like at least basic maths and some concepts, right? Because of machine learning, basically. So if you're afraid of maths, if you if you don't like maths, right? The thing is that you are mostly going to just be using software and libraries to do all these things. You won't actually be making any calculation yourself manually, right? But the process in doing all these things will require you to have an understanding, at least a general understanding of some of these things, right? It's come down to dimensions, right? Understanding what dimensions are, understanding how some of this multiplication stuff happens, understanding all these basic things. So you don't need to be a guru. You don't need to know everything in math, but you just have to have an idea of some of these concepts. Trust me, is going to help you a lot. And if you really want to stand out, you need to understand this because in interviews, even if in your job you will not be really doing anything mathematical related, but in interviews to get your job, you'll be asked some of these concepts, right? How does what does this mean? How does this particular stuff happen? And this some of these things they rely on some mathematical understanding. You need to have an understanding of some things in mathematics to be able to explain them. So I don't want to intimidate you, but it's going to be easy. Trust me. Like sometimes some fear are actually not realistic. To be honest with you, right? I have a lot of students from cohort one that didn't know anything, right? They were just even skeptical. But now they did very well. They trust me, they did very well with their work and their project and everything. So if they can, you can also, right? You definitely can. So don't conclude beforehand that, oh, I won't be able to do this, right? No, don't even try it at all because I'm very certain that you'll be able to do it. So if that is your fear, just brush it off. I don't know how deep it is, but just brush it off. It's you definitely you see to the end of it. So as long as you have the passion and you are committed to this particular program. All right. So I believe we've been able to trash that. So we have a few more persons. So Treasure Nabike, Treasure, please go ahead and ask your question. Treasure. Treasure, go ahead and ask your question, please. Unmute yourself. We're going to be taking we're going to be taking two more persons and then anybody that feels Somebody I was unable to ask. You just dropped a question on the group and I will attend to it.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everybody. I'm so
Yeah,
glad to
good.
be part of this program. I have a question and I just need clarity because I went through the preliminary and onboarding video on data science foundation, and the life cycle discussed there is a bit different from what you discussed with us today. And then you went ahead to summarize what you discussed. I think we have up to six of the life cycle stages we discussed today. And then you went ahead to summarize them into 5 steps according to this other slide, this chart in this slide. So I really want to know if there is an ideal life cycle, or it varies based on individual or company or anything. So I just want to be clarified about the life
Yeah.
cycle.
All right. Thank you very much. So, the life cycle is not like forget about the words there, like the how will I even put it? The representation, right? Just understand the idea behind it. You already know that the initial phase is understanding the problem. So in another place, they might use a different word. They might not use problem identification. They might use something else. But the main idea there is understanding the problem you want to solve. So the next thing, or sometimes they can merge problem identification with business understanding, right? So after that, then the next thing should be what? Data collection. After that, some places you might have data cleaning, right? So data cleaning, data transformation, right? You might have pre-processing. So, but there's an idea behind all these different variations, basically. And there's an idea that you have to capture. So it comes from understanding your the problem and the business, collecting the data that you use to solve that problem, then transforming that data, like cleaning it, pre-processing it, whatever word you want to use, to make it ready for analysis, then doing your EDA or exploratory data analysis on it, and then moving forward to building your model, evaluating it, and deploying it. So trust me, there are variations. If you go to a particular website or a particular class, I will show you a different variation, but it still follows the same flow. It still follows the same idea. You understand the same idea that is behind all these variations, right? So I want you to get the idea behind it and not the letter itself. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. All
Yeah.
right. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. Thank you for your question. Okay. All right. Ozioma Oyeme. Ozioma Oyeme. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, Mr. Emmanuel, good evening, sir, and good evening, everyone. Please, can you hear me,
Yeah.
sir?
Good evening. I can hear you.
Okay, sir. Thank you for everything. I want to ask, you made mention of we doing a capstone project and defending the project. Why saying that? You said the project will be defended by some people who meet up to some specific threshold. My question now is, for those who could not meet up, what happens to them? That's my first question. Then my second question here is, I believe at the end of the program, we all will be issued a safety card from U Tribe. I want to ask how well recognized is the safety card from U Tribe? Then the third question is like I'm enrolled in data analysis, Google data analytics, and one of our tutor will say that there are laws that you must follow as a data analyst, something like you must not be biased in your decision making. So I'm asking, as a data scientist, are there laws that are also guiding you as a data scientist? Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. So for the project, yeah, you'll be doing a project to wrap up the course. And yeah, we have a lot of persons here, so we won't have enough time for everybody. So those that would be defending would be based on the particular performance. So the defense doesn't actually add or remove from your project. Basically, it doesn't add or remove, right? So you just to help you just to understand or to know that yeah, you're the one that actually did this project. So if you're able to do your project well, trust me, you're going to defend your project. So you shouldn't be worried about those that will not defend it unless you are planning not to do your project very well. So if you are planning, or if you do your project well, yeah, you are going to defend your project. So that is just how that is it basically. So you have to end that right by putting a lot of effort. So for the certificates, please don't focus on certificates. Certificate is just to recognize that yeah you did this right. So certificate, most people will not really look at certificates when employing you. The certificate is just an entrance basically. Yeah, you did this, or yeah, show me, yeah, this is the evidence basically. So what will be recognized is the capacity you've gotten from that program, right? So that is why I would say regarding the certificate aspect. And your third question, which is the rules for data scientists, I don't know. There are no strict rules, but any rules you get from the Google course also applies to data scientists. So it just has to do with your data. You should allow the data speak, right? And don't you should allow your data speak for itself. So you should not try to analyze your data in a way that would be going towards something that you want it to go. So you just do your analysis, get your result, and use that result like as you're getting it. So you should not be biased basically. So the same rules apply to a data scientist or whatever rule it is that you've gotten from any course you've done. So yeah, I think I've been able to answer those questions. Thank you very
All
much.
right.
We're going to be taking Utibe Idem. Ah, I'm so sorry if I didn't pronounce your name very well. So Utibe, please can you correct me on your name pronunciation
Okay.
and then go ahead to
All right.
ask.
My name is Utibedem. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Miss Emmanuel. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the lecture. Okay. So you spoke about Python as one of the most important tools we would use in machine learning and data science. Okay. So I came across Python to be used to create trading robots. I don't know, is this still under the context of machine learning and data science? Is creating a trading robot, a trading bot, under that
Okay.
context?
Oh, bots is a different thing entirely from data science. Like that is a different area. Is basically automation. That is Python can be used for automation processes. So a bot can create bot with Python, right? But it's out of the scope of data science. So if you want to do that, I think that is a different thing entirely. So it's not affiliated with what we are doing here or what data science is. All right.
Okay.
All right. All right. So Thaddeus, ask your question. I think you'll be the last person because I'm not seeing any other hands up. All right. Please unmute yourself and ask a question. Thaddeus, please ask your question.
Really? My
Yeah.
question is that, hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
My question is that I study computer engineering at a national diploma, so I don't even know how this data science can help in computer engineering. Hello, sir?
All right. Okay, is that your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. As we are going forward in the program, you would definitely see how helpful it is, right? So all these questions about how I'm going to implement data science in what I'm doing, I can't answer that for everybody. But as you are going forward in this program, as you're moving forward in this program, all these things would be coming to you, right? Ideas and everything, you'll be getting to see them clearly. So just stick around with us and find out. All right, we are going to be calling it a day at this point because I still have something to show us before we conclude. So the reason why we took this long, I think this is almost 1 hour of question and answer, right? The reason why I gave us this time is because this is the first class and I want us all to ask as many questions as we can, but we can't actually take in everybody's question at this point. So please, if you are here to ask a question, kindly drop the question, type it out in the group, right? In the question and answer group, tag me and the assistant tutor, and we are going to do our due diligence to answer those questions. So I'm so sorry that we're unable to proceed to, unable to take more questions at this point. We are trying to work with time. So you all can also continue with what you have to do. All right. So thank you very much. But before we close, okay, basically tomorrow I'm going to take us through that, right? So because of time, so we are going to be coming back here tomorrow by 5 p.m. Looking forward to seeing you. Please enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you and goodbye.